Today we'll learn about fractions. Fractions, all of you are familiar with. What do you mean by a fraction? A number which is expressed as a part of a whole is known as a fraction. So what is a fraction? Part of a whole. Part of a whole is known as fractions. A fraction have two parts, which all are the numerator and denominator. So fraction, how we can express that one? Fraction is equal to numerator divided by denominator. Like this we will express the fraction. Fraction is equal to numerator divided by denominator. Consider the example 2 by 5. Okay. So in this 2 is the numerator and 5 is the denominator. And this bar is known as vincula. Okay. Now the number of parts into which the whole is divided. We already learned that part of a whole is fraction. Okay, part of a whole is fraction. Suppose that the whole is divided into how many equal parts? That is a denominator. If you are dividing the whole into 5 equal parts, that's why here the denominator is a 5. And from that how much we are choosing? It will become the numerator. Okay, hope it is clear. Now, suppose that this square, this we are considering as whole. Okay, and I divided this into 4 equal parts. Okay, then each part is a fraction, we can say. This we divided into 4 equal parts, so the denominator will be 4. Okay, then this part alone we can call that as 1 by 4, one part. If we shaded two portions, we will get how much, what will be the fraction now? It became 2 by 4. And if we shaded the three portions shaded, so 3 by 4. Like that we can express fractions. Okay, now what do you mean by different types of fractions? There are different types of fractions are the unit fractions. What do you mean by? First one, in types of fractions, first one we will learn unit fractions. Unit fractions. What do you mean by unit fractions? If the numerator of any fraction is 1, then it is known as unit fraction. What is a unit fraction? If the numerator of any fraction is 1, then it is called a unit fraction. Example, 1 by 2 is an example for unit fraction. 1 by 3 is an example of a unit fraction. 1 by 4 is an example of a unit fraction, etc. Like that it will go. So if the numerator of a fraction is 1, it is called a unit fraction. Then second type, proper fraction. What do you mean by proper fraction? A fraction whose numerator is less than the denominator is called a proper fraction. What is a proper fraction? A fraction whose numerator is less than the denominator is called a proper fraction. 1 by 2 is an example of proper fraction. 3 by 11 is an example of a proper fraction. 7 by 25 is an example of proper fraction. Like that it will go. So in a proper fraction, numerator will be always less than the denominator. Next one, third one, improper fraction. What do you mean by improper fraction? A fraction whose numerator is greater than the denominator is called an improper fraction. In a fraction, if numerator is big, we can call that as an improper fraction. Example, 3 by 2 numerator is bigger here, okay, than the denominator. So this one is a improper fraction. 11 by 3. 11 is bigger than 3. That means numerator is bigger than the denominator. So this type of fractions are called improper fractions. Next type we will say mixed fractions. What do you mean by mixed fractions? A fraction which consists a whole number and a proper fraction is called a mixed fraction. Some examples we will see 2, 3 by 4. Okay, so here 2 is the whole number part and 3 by 4 is a proper fraction. So a mixed fraction have two parts, which are they? A whole number part and a proper fraction. Together this we will call as mixed fractions. One more example, 4, 5 by 9, another mixed fraction. 7, 11 by 12, another mixed fraction. Like that it will go. Okay, now next type of fraction that we are going to learn is like fractions. Okay, what do you mean by like fractions? Fractions having the same denominator is called like fractions. What do you mean by like fractions? Fractions having the same denominator. So 1 by 9, 2 by 9, 3 by 9, etc. Denominator all here 9. So these all fractions are like fractions. Next, 2 by 5, 5 by 5, 4 by 5. What about the denominator of these fractions? All 5. So these also like fractions. Then what do you mean by unlike fractions? Unlike fractions, if the denominator of fractions are not same, then it is unlike fractions. So fractions having different denominator is called unlike fraction. So 1 by 2, 1 by 5, denominator different. So these two are unlike fractions. 3 by 7, 5 by 9, different denominators. So unlike fractions. So these all are about different types of fractions.